Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
That's all I got today.
So we got a very, very special episode for y'all today. Very, very special one. This is the first annual Goof Awards Show there. We were tempted to call it something else. It kind of sounds like Goof, but we didn't want to tick off Disney.
Yeah.
We wanted to call it that. We didn't want to tick off Disney. So we thought, let's keep Disney the magical, happy place it is. So we had the first annual Goof Awards here. And we want to go ahead and go over a quick bit of Giant news before we do that there. But we're excited to do this because we're going to go over as far as, most valuable player, most improved player, defensive rookie of the year, special teams player of the year. We got all these different categories. This is going to be a legit award show. Keep watching, guys, because Will Smith just might slap the crap out of someone. You never know. You never know.
Probably me, because I don't know how to shut up.
You keep his word. You keep his name out of your damn mouth.
Yeah. Ah!
So, first up, before we get into the actual awards, I wanted to go over with you guys the update we got today from the Senior Bowl. So they're saying that Joe Shane talked to the media and discussed how they're still talking to Saquon Barkley about his contract and getting an extension for him. And they seem really focused on that because that's all you hear about. And he even said they haven't talked to Daniel Jones still. So people are talking about this, but I'll tell you this. I think this is a pretty obvious sign of something.
Tag
is coming. Tag, you're it. Because everybody's talking about this guy being worth like $40 million now. We can't pay him $40 million. You can't pay people $40 million a year and still build a team around them. And this is not Patrick Mahomes. This guy needs a team around him. So tag the guy. You're paying him $32 million. That's what the franchise tag is in this year's $32.416. Still a pretty damn good paycheck. How about that, Rob?
Oh, listen, I'll be lucky to make $32 million in my life. So
seriously,
so you're gonna make that a year. Good for you.
Yeah. So let's not cry for him. So you go ahead and you sign him to a franchise tag deal. Then you go into negotiations, and guess what happens year one? Year one, you say, I'm not going over $32 million. I don't have to pay you more than that. That's business. It's not personal. That's business.
Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, you don't want to do what Oakland did. Yeah. You don't want to put you don't want to put DJ on like a Derek Carr kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to do pretty much anything that the Las Vegas Raiders do because they're the Raiders. They've been dysfunctional since the day I was born, basically. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know.
Maybe. Real fast. Was Derek Carr not only a Vegas Raider? Was he also?
He was an Oakland Raider, yes. I think he's the longest. I should say he still is because they haven't cut him or traded him, but he's still the most tenured Raider, I believe, in the franchise currently.
Yeah, he's going on 10 years. Was he?
Yeah.
So he was.
He's been a while.
Yeah.
But the way to be nice to him on his way out. Yeah, good job, Raiders. But I think it's a telling sign that they're still negotiating with Saquon, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to trade. They're going to tag Jones, and then whatever Saquon does. I think they've kind of like, this is where we're at. You take this deal, or you go look for a better one elsewhere. That's what I think personally, based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this may very well be the last we've seen of Saquon as a Giant, I think. But
I mean, they have the possibility to tag Barkley as well, which is what.
No, they can't. They only tag one. You have to sign Jones to do that. Unless there's a wink, wink, and a nudge, nudge that they're going to go ahead and sign Jones, but I don't see that happening. You don't take the risk of letting your quarterback hit the open market. That's stupid. That's stupid.
Yes and no. So if there's a wink, wink, hush, hush, there also might be talks behind the scenes that we don't.
Oh no, it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not a hush, hush.
Sure.
It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And yeah, with the hush, hush, like hey,
not to be confused with the wink, wink, Martindale.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like we said prior, DJ is probably not going to want to go anywhere else because he finally has a stable, good head coach. Why take the chance anywhere else? This is the best he's looked all his whole career, and it's an offense that works for him. So if he could make a hush hush deal, and have the opportunity to see where he can make, if they have to tag Barkley, does he make a little bit more off the deal?
You don't think you don't take that risk, though? I mean, especially with, he's a Carolina boy. Carolina needs a quarterback. That's been the one rumor I've heard of. I mean, you don't take that risk. You tag him. You don't risk losing your quarterback. And let me put it this way. I appreciate every single thing Saquon has done for this team. He has been the face of the franchise the last couple of years. He's been an absolute beast this year and his rookie year. But in the end, you can draft a running back who may not be as good as him, but you don't miss out as much as you do by losing your quarterback.
This might be the first time I hear you actually defend DJ over Barkley for the whole season.
In the end, quarterback is more important. Now, if we had the number one overall pick, I'd be having a different conversation here. If we were the Chicago Bears and DJ was the quarterback, but who are you getting better than Daniel Jones right now?
No one.
There's no one. So you're going to have to get him back, whether you like it or not. And there's people that will like it and people that won't like it, and then there's going to be people in the middle like me. But when it boils down to it, we have no better option, folks. You don't let this guy go. You get him. You hope a second year in the franchise with the same offensive system, with a better receiving core, and hopefully that's what happened. I read an article actually the other day. They were saying that the Giants had literally the slowest wide receivers. They tracked their speeds that are on the field. They had the slowest wide receivers in the entire NFL.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Imagine so you're trying to stay.
Yeah.
So you're trying to say if Tom Brady comes out of retirement tomorrow again, you don't want him as a quarterback?
I would never have taken Tom Brady to begin with. He's done. We're rebuilding. We're rebuilding. I hoped he still played, to be honest, just because it's a sign that I'm old now. That another guy the last guy I think actually that was getting drafted right as I was getting out of high school is now retiring. So I'm just that old now that nobody is there for my childhood anymore at all. He's the last. He's the last.
Big Ben, Tom Brady, they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
I saw somebody posting the end of an era, and it was Brady, Breeze, Peyton, Eli, Rivers, and Roethlisberger. And it's like, they're right. That was like an elite group of quarterbacks. And I'll even say this as a Giant fan. It's kind of gracious to include Eli to a certain degree, because I think all in all, those quarterbacks had a little more on their resume, minus the Super Bowls, obviously. But, I mean, it is truly the end of an era. It really is. So, but like I said, hopefully this is the beginning of a new era for us. And we signed Daniel Jones to a long-term deal, and he keeps improving year after year, having the better offense, with Dable and Kafka hopefully coming back next year, having the better system overall that he's enjoyed this year as well, having the better receivers and weapons around him, because he still needs those. He's not good enough to do it by himself. He needs weapons. So, I do think it's time, though.
Oh, I think it's a time.
I think it's that time to start the first annual Goof Awards.
Goof!
I'd like to thank the Academy for
Thank you. Thank you. They love me. They really love me.
So I think it's time to get started with the very first, for not just first annual Goof Awards show, but the very first goof handed out at the first annual award show that we're doing here as well. So this is a historic moment, folks. Get your cameras ready.
Take it in.
Take it in. The very first one. Rob, why don't you give us the very first category, the very first goof given out at the very first annual Goof Awards show?
All right. I mean, we're going to talk about the special teams player of the year.
Yes. And the nominees are Gano, Jamie Gillan, Gary Brightwell, Carter Coughlin. Let's see. Let's see who the winner is. And the winner is Graham Gano. Congratulations, Graham Gano. There we go. No pun intended. No rhyming meant.
Mr. Special Teams Player of the Week.
Yeah, and
week 2.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, this was kind of an easy one because Graham Gano is just an amazing kicker. Jamie Gillan's been great as a long punter, and what I mean by that is like he can boot the ball, but I still have my issues with him in the lack of a coffin corner. Get that corner going, Jamie. Yeah. Come on, maybe next year you can earn a goof.
Not every boot has to be outside the end zone.
Yeah,
well placed corner in the 5-yard line does a very good job.
Exactly, and Gary Brightwell, great returner for us. Never fumbled the ball like other returners. So
never got hurt.
But also never did anything amazing either. He had some decent returns, but he never had those oh my god returns. And Carter Coughlin was very good on special teams as far as tackles. Was tied for lead in the special teams with tackles there, but it's hard to make the impact to earn the prestigious Goof Award just by a few tackles. So, sorry, Carter. So, congrats, Graham Gano, winning the first ever Goof Award on the first annual Goof Award show.
And a special tidbit, Graham Gano also has the same initials as Giant Goofballs.
He does.
GG.
All righty. What's our next category here, Rob?
Our next category over here is the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. So we have the nominees are Evan Neal.
Who are the nominees?
Evan Neal, Wandale Robinson, Joshua Ezeudu, and Daniel Bellinger. So I think this award really comes down to looking at who was healthy and who wasn't healthy as part of it here. So you got Evan Neal, who started all 17, almost all 17. He's up injured for 3 or 4 of them. Improved as the year went on in some ways. Had some good games, had some bad games, but definitely growing.
Had his hiccups. Yeah.
Wandale Robinson. Obviously got out about halfway through the season there. Had a great game against the Lions and showed some promise.
Yeah, he really started turning it around, and there's a lot of hope from this young guy. Let's hope he recovers well with a speedy recovery, because he really started turning on those Jets, and that's what they needed.
Oh yeah. You got Joshua Ezeudu, well, again, another injured guy, but I mean, this guy shows some promise where he could be a starting guard for us, I think, next year or, going forward for a few years at least, That's always good to get out of a guy who's a 3rd-round pick in the end. And then, of course, you got Daniel Bellinger, who was a starting tight end for, again, same as goes for Neal most of the season. Great blocker, was much more dependable as a receiver than I expected him to be. So
I was going to say, we talked about at the beginning of the year that his blockability was why he was going to be our tight end over here. And we didn't really have any reference about how good he was as a receiver. And he literally lit up the field and had some great games for us.
And look what happened to the run game when he was out. The run game dropped bad when he got out. He's a good run blocker. So let's see what we have here. And the winner of Offensive Rookie of the Year is Daniel Bellinger.
Oh, now we definitely sound like Hollywood.
Congratulations,
Yay.
Daniel Bellinger. And the big thing for me was what he did in the run game. That run game, seriously, was not the same when he was out. That run game was on point whenever he was playing, though.
Yeah,
So.
he changed the run game. His blocking was great, and he also changed the receiving game as well, and they had to respect him as a legitimate receiver.
I feel like he was one of those guys that Jones definitely looked for when he was getting flushed out of the pocket and had nowhere to run, but needed to at least try to complete something. He was that guy.
Yeah,
so.
he lit it up early too in the year. Like once he started, once we went against a better defense and their corners were covering our lackluster receivers that we had, he found Bellinger. Bellinger became his. I'm not wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just funny.
Yeah. Became his security blanket, if you will, a little bit before he got his eye poked.
Keep him all roasty, toasty, warm.
Yeah. Yeah, like he got hurt. Wandale started playing a little bit better, and then both of them were out, and Isaiah Hodgins kind of stepped into that shoes over there. And Bellinger also never looked back. As soon as he came back, he started playing well again. So let's see this man improve.
He took that job from the get-go, and it's been nice. So on to our next award. What we got, Rob?
Oh, now we're going to go on the flip side of the field. We're going to talk about the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Who's our nominees?
Defense. And the nominees are Kayvon, Thibodeaux, Cordale, Flott, Dane, Belton, Micah, McFadden, and this was a little more difficult category for me. I'll say this up front. So Kayvon Thibodeaux really, I think, turned it on in the second half of the season as he kind of got healthier, got used to the swing of the NFL, and had a decent rookie year. But I wouldn't say he blew the top off and had this Javon Curse kind of rookie year. But he showed promise. If he can ever shed a block, the guy would be amazing. But he's good.
I mean, the amount of holding that he withheld, which is me being a biased Giants fan saying that, but he got held a lot this year with no calls.
Listen,
he also was.
You got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away, and know when to run.
And that's what a lot of quarterbacks did with this gentleman, because he put a lot of quarterbacks under pressure constantly.
Yeah, so you got Flott, who I gotta say I had no positive thoughts about him coming into the season absolutely whatsoever. I thought it was a horrible pick. I thought we picked him way too early, and I still think we picked him too early. Don't get me wrong on that, but he did show some promise, I thought, at times.
Especially and I think second half.
Yeah, and I think he's going to develop into somebody who comes into that secondary as like a nickel, dime corner kind of guy that can come in and do some cover. And if I'm wrong and he's a starting caliber, great. But I think that's more his role there. Dane Belton, started a couple of a little bit of injury there in the beginning. There was out the first game. Played a little bit there. Had the fumble his very first play ever on the NFL field. But never really got a chance, I felt, to take the starting jobs away, or even the backup job as like a third safety away from even Jason Pinnock and Tony Jefferson and those guys. So, but again, not a horrible year, because there's not times I was watching with the games going, "Oh my God, what the hell is this kid doing?" Yeah, I have had that before.
No, he definitely had. I don't say a shaky start, but he fought through it. Shake it off. He went through a lot of injury. I went T Swift.
Dance all night. I was going different.
But Yeah, he had a little bit of a shaky year. He was injury prone. Well, I should have said prone, but he had to fought through a couple of injuries, and like you said, he didn't exactly get the starting job. He didn't exactly get the second string job,
Yeah.
but
No.
he still did not. He played well for a rookie,
Yeah, he
but not
didn't
to the
play hard,
caliber.
didn't play horrible, didn't play great.
Yeah,
And then you got McFadden, who is the only rookie that played every single game this season. So first off, congrats on that,
Yeah.
because yes, like you're the only guy who played the entire season as a rookie, and was on the field quite often for us, and I think got a little better as the season went on. But same as some of the guys we talked about, never really overly impressed either, but showed some improvement. So
he definitely had a couple good games. What game was it? Week 17, I think he had a pretty good game. Week 16.
yeah, well, everybody had
I
a
think
good
he
week
stepped-
16.
Yeah.
That was the Colts game, right? I think everybody had a week.
Yeah.
Everybody had a good game that week.
Touche.
So let's take a look.
Yeah.
Oh no! Here we go. And the winner of the Defensive Player of the Year is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Congrats, Kayvon. Congrats.
Congrats.
I'm just glad I haven't pulled a Steve Harvey yet and said the wrong name.
You right?
What's the next category we got, Rob?
Oh, now we're going to straight up the Offensive Player of the Year.
Ooh, that's a good one
Yeah.
there. Offensive Player of the Year. And the nominees are Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Andrew Thomas, Darius Slayton. And I think these nominees don't even need much introduction here, but Daniel Jones, obviously starting quarterback, has had his best year this year. Saquon Barkley, Pro Bowl caliber running back, coming back after having a couple off seasons. Andrew Thomas, stud left tackle, one of the best left tackles in all of football after having a very rookie year with us. Darius Slayton comes out of the doghouse, ends up being basically our top, wide receiver one basically for this whole second half of the season.
Which absolutely crazy.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yes. So,
Bro.
let's see what we got. And the
So
winner
we get here.
is Andrew Thomas. Congrats, Andrew Thomas.
Guy played lights out for us.
Ooh.
Stopped. He was like a brick wall.
He's a brick. Wow.
Wow.
He's mate.
Did fantastic this year.
He absolutely
Not
did.
to take away to any of the nominees out there because it was all tough picks.
No. But this guy was like top-rated left tackle for the first half of the season. Had the one game he was sick against the Cowboys. It was like his one off game on Thanksgiving. But otherwise, I mean, this guy was just on point, like 100%. This was like the kind of tackle we've dreamed about having on this roster for years. And I think that's part of why he gets it, is we have been wanting this kind of player for how long?
Yeah, and if we were playing Madden, he should be the All-Pro ranking on Madden.
His
Madden
stats
are
hates
fantastic.
him. Madden hates him for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So what award we got next there, Rob?
Oh, we're gonna flip the side of the field. We're gonna go to
Put
the
thing down, flip it and reverse it.
Player of the Year.
Oh, the defense player of the year.
Flipperoonie.
And the nominees are Dexter Lawrence, Julian Love, Adoree Jackson, and Xavier McKinney. And
gonna give it to you.
This is a difficult one. Seriously, I mean, Sexy
This
Dexy.
is another hard
off,
one.
like, woo, like Pro Bowl year, deservedly so. I would still say he should be like considered all pro level the way he played this year because he may not have as many sacks as a guy like Chris Jones has, but that man was everywhere, everywhere. It's amazing how good he was. It really, really was. Julian Love, Swiss
He
Army
definitely
knife.
stepped it up. And he stepped it up so much with all those injuries in the backfield.
Oh yeah,
He literally played like a captain back there.
Yep. I led the team in tackles. I mean, just for a guy that was rocking the bench for some reason the last couple of years, he really impressed.
Yeah.
Adoree Jackson. I think if anybody doesn't realize how good a player Adoree Jackson is, let's look what happened to the defense when he went out.
And let's look what happened to Justin Jefferson when we played him in the playoffs. 37 yards compared to the 100 and some odd yards he had against Flott.
The man is a shutdown corner and was all year for us there. So, definitely an appreciated effort, and he never should be returning punts. I'm just say that.
Yeah, that's something we said from the get-go.
Yep. So Xavier McKinney, like that guy too, has really, I think, took a big leap, and I think the big part is that he was the one calling the plays for the defense. And I think he really took that leadership role to heart. Obviously, not always in Cabo, but that's
Yeah.
But otherwise, he really took that to heart, and I think you saw a big improvement out of him and a big effort out of him all year long. So that was good to see.
Yeah, it was a great leader for the team, and like I said, Julian Love stepped up for him when he almost JBP'd his hands.
Oh yes. Oh, that was. I'm still. Thank God he has fingers still.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and the winner is. Let's see.
Open it up.
Dexter Lawrence,
a.k.a. Sexy Dex.
Sexy Dexy. Congrats, Dexter.
Yeah.
What's the next?
Oh, now we're going to talk about the comeback player of the year.
The comeback player of the year. Now,
And Kim Kardashian's not in this.
Nope, because she's not a player. She just crushed a lot. So, I think the big thing is I want to real quick give people also that what we mean by that, because there's a couple of categories here that I think need an explanation, and this is definitely one. So, comeback means you came back from some kind of adversity, whether it be a benching, an injury, that kind of stuff here. Because I know people like talk about a guy like Geno Smith in the NFL as a comeback player. But nope, he was starting. He just sucked. I'm talking about this guy.
He didn't go through adversity. His
something.
adversity
Was himself.
Geno Smith's adversity was he was never good.
Yes, exactly. That's not an adversity. That's not
That's just your talent.
Yeah. So, the nominees are Saquon Barkley, Nick Gates, Darius Slayton. And, I mean, Saquon, it goes without saying why him. He's been injured the last couple of years, came back this year and finally got back to his elite form.
Yeah, he looks better than his rookie self. Like, people doubted him
about
coming
that.
to this
The
year.
rookie year, he looked, honestly, I think his rookie year, he still looked better. I still do think that. You looked at the movement he did and the way he was, he still looked better, I think. But he hit the hole this year, and that's what kind of masked that a little bit. He hit the hole finally. Somebody finally made him listen to him. So, and you got Nick Gates, who most people thought wouldn't even playing in the NFL anymore.
He took that good luck brick a leg thing a little too serious.
Yeah, I mean, wow, like that injury he had, that's like Joe Theismann level injury he had. And the man came back. The man is an absolute beast like that. And he's a free agent, and I'll just say this is, I don't want to get too much into free agency, but that man is hopefully a Giant for life, and I hope to see him back next year. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's for another episode. We'll get into that.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that.
Later.
We'll have those episodes coming, guys. Darius Slayton. The guy literally was on the bench riding the pine basically all year long. And then all of a sudden, like halfway through, they're like, oh, yeah, let's play him.
Yeah.
And the guy ends up being our leading receiver for the season.
Took it away from Richie James.
Richie James never should have been. I'm sorry. I like Richie, don't get me wrong, but he never, ever should have been.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it didn't take much to get there, and because what was it, week 4 when no receivers had over 100
200
yards?
yards. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
200 yards, whatever it was.
Oh, my God, it's horrible. Yes.
All right. Move on.
And the winner is Saquon Barkley.
Get excited.
Saquon.
Shack attack.
And I'm telling you, I was this close to picking Nick Gates in my vote for this, but I couldn't get past the fact that how good Saquon was this year. And he was from the beginning to the end. He was the old Saquon again almost. So,
yeah,
that definitely came into play. You play the whole season. Nick Gates, amazing story. Was so close. I was so close to like switching it up on that one there. I really was.
I was in the air because he literally it was a very emotional game when he first came back.
Oh my God, his whole family's there and you want to cry with them. It's
he looks so good. It's and granted he was on a snap count, but he still when he was in there, he was a play maker and made a difference.
I think it's safe to say we are both big fans of Nick Gates. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we'll talk about his free agency later.
Oh yeah. All righty, what we got next there?
Up next is the assistant coach of the year.
Oh, the assistant coach of the year, and this is something that never gets enough recommendations and talked about with the fans. I feel like is the assistant coaches. They all talk about the coordinators. They all talk about the head coach. No one ever talks about the assistant coaches. So I wanted to give them some love here.
And
the nominees. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying there was a lot of good assistant coaches. Yeah, there was a lot of good assistant coaches here.
There was a lot. This was a lot better list
than what we've had
in
years past.
Yep. Except one who one of the nominees actually is a coach that survived the Joe Judge era. Actually,
yeah.
So the nominees are Shea, Tierney, quarterback coach. Jerome, Henderson, secondary. Mike, Groh, wide receivers. Andre Patterson, defensive line. And I think all these coaches, it's pretty obvious, did a damn good job. Just based on how
all these coaches need to be talked about.
Shea Tierney literally is being looked at as an offensive coordinator elsewhere because of how good he is as a quarterback coach and as an assistant quarterback coach back up in Buffalo.
I was about to say, he helped develop Josh Allen. He helped develop DJ through this year.
Yep. And I'll tell you, if we lose Wink, Jerome Henderson is the guy to look at. Because he's been with us quite a while. The guy is well respected. The guy is well respected by the team and the players. And he's just done an amazing job now with two different, coaching regimes, with two different defenses too. And Patrick Graham wanted to do what Wink Martindale did this year, but quite frankly, didn't have the balls to do it.
That's a fair assessment.
Call it what it is. He went back to doing zone coverage because he said he didn't have the guys to cover.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's safe to say he had better corners those 2 years than Wink had this year.
The fact that at least 6 games he was playing without his number 1 and 2 corners.
Yep.
From what
and
he thought he was going to start with. Blitz, great bop. And Jerome Henderson had to get these guys in and get them well going, and he did just that. So, good job this year. Mike Groh, I think it's safe to say, had probably the toughest job on this entire coaching staff because every single receiver got injured. Every single one. Not every single one, but our wide 4 or 5, which should have been in the year, was our number 1 receiver. Not to take it away from how well he played this year for what was going on in and around him.
Slayton, Wandale, Darius, Tony, Kenny Galladay was hurt at one point as well, and obviously was, Kenny Galladay being Kenny Galladay.
Don't forget
Darius,
the veteran
Slayton
Shep
in the doghouse for a while. Shep being out after week 3 was it or 4 for him?
I think it was earlier than that. Yeah, probably 3. Probably game 3.
I think it was 3. But yeah, I mean that was a very, very tough job this year, and look at how well those receivers started getting towards the end of the year. Look how good they did against the Vikings in the playoff game.
I'm just saying, playoffs. I'm just saying, as Hodgins, Rishi James, we picked these guys up, and they were in practice squads, and they're starting for us.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice, and these guys look pretty good.
Yep,
pretty damn good.
Yeah. And then you got Andre Patterson, first-year defensive line coach for us, coming over with Wink. And, I mean, that guy, look what he did for Dexter Lawrence there. We gave our defensive player of the year before, Dexter Lawrence. Who do you think had that influence?
Rookie defensive player of the year?
Yeah, who do you think had that influence on him?
Yeah, 100%.
Andre Patterson.
And I mean, that front four is pretty tough this year. So,
yes.
One of the best in the game.
Defensive line was our strength, but yeah, it definitely was. And the winner is Shea Tierney. Good job, Shea.
We definitely sound like Hollywood now.
Maybe they'll go ahead and name a baseball stadium after you one day, and then tear it down and put up one named for a bank.
Or was he named after the baseball fields?
Maybe. Funny story, and not even a football story. Chipper Jones named his daughter Shea, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm a Mets fan. I know.
Oh, that's rough. All right.
I know. Because he hit the most. All right. Sorry, sidetracked.
And our next category.
The coordinator of the year.
Oh, yes. And obviously we just have 3 nominees for this one since there's only 3 people that could be nominated. So we have Mike Kafka, offensive coordinator. Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator. Thomas McGahee, T-Mac, the special teams coordinator. And listen, I think offense, obviously Mike Kafka is getting looked at as a head coach elsewhere. His job speaks for itself right there. Wink, I think we've spoken ad nauseum and how much we like Wink and respect Wink and what he's done for this team.
He's also getting second interviews for head coaching jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got T-Mac, who has been with us and survived now with us. This is his 3rd or 4th coaching regime he's been with us with now. I mean, that's just stability. And you heard Britton Golden talk about him when he was on our show there, how good what coach he was and how respected he was. So while special teams might not have been the best for us this year, I think it's safe to say that roster depth was also an issue. So I think that's on the players more than him. So, and the winner is Wink Martindale. We're so off. Sorry. Congrats, Wink.
I think we're going to have to go through another practice round. Yeah.
We're going to have to go. What's the next category we got there, Rob?
This was a open and close category. It was very easy for Drew and I to pick this one.
It was very easy.
The play of the year.
Yes. So we didn't do any nominations on this one because, quite frankly, there was one play that stood above so far amongst the rest. It'd be a disrespect to this play to go ahead and include other plays in its same category.
There were some ballsy other plays, but this one...
It was some day ballsy play.
It set the precedent for going forward in this Giants...
What about Joe Biden?
Nothing about Joe Biden. Just saying, this play set what was going to go forward with the Giants' new regime. You son of a gun. You leave politics out of sports.
For those not watching live or on the videos, this is why you have to watch occasionally. The podcasts are great. Thank you for listening. But every so often, we do funny things on the camera. So,
you struck me.
And the winner is going for two against the Titans.
For the win.
Remember the Titans 2-point conversion because that set the whole tone. It was not just the first win. It was the first ballsy move that a coach, I think, in a long time said, I have faith in you guys. Let's go win it.
It showed the confidence in DJ pass, to convert the ball because it looked like he was going to just throw the ball. It showed the confidence that Barkley was back. It showed the balls of our coaching staff to go for such a big play. Like they needed a wheelbarrow to go to silence for that play.
Oh,
just to rest them, just the rest of those goofballs.
The wheelbarrow
And
position.
Yeah, exactly. And it also set up what that season that we went to, like, where a lot of people were saying we were going to get half the wins we got through the year. They
4 or 5 wins.
Yeah, they played lights
Again.
out for the most of the year with a very understaffed roster, if we will.
You know what's a very scary thing is I've heard a lot of people talking about the fact that we were 1-5 against the NFC East, and that's not wrong. Don't get me wrong; that is not wrong. We were 1-5 against the NFC East. Oh, hold on, nope, we were 1-4-1.
I was going to say 1-4-1.
1-4-1. I had to do a little math in my head. 1-4.
We only had one win, despite everyone talking.
You know what the scary thing is if you take that the opposite way. Okay, we were 8-3 against non-NFC East opponents. 8-3.
Yeah, which is a great stat to have, but also when you play those teams 6 times a year, you're going to want more than one win.
I know. I'm trying to be positive. It's an award show, damn it.
But you're not wrong, because that's just against other teams outside our divisions is like it's double of the wins we had last year.
Yep.
So
definitely this play is what set the tone. This is the play that set the tone. Going for 2 against the Titans there. So that's an amazing start to the season, and it was an amazing season overall.
And it also may have been the start of the Titans' decline.
No, they started good. They lost like 6 or 7 games at the end. They were good at that point there.
They did. That was injury. Listen, I'm just saying they were AFC
a bunch
champions.
of malarkey, as the president would say. A bunch of malarkey.
Yeah, AFC champions. They were coming out expected to dominate us. Was you speaking different part?
So, on to the next category.
Most improved Giant. Not who grew the most, but just in the Giant player.
Yep. So this is a guy that didn't necessarily have to overcome anything except for how he was playing on the field, basically. And talk about a tough category this was, because we had so many people that I'm like looking at it going, we have we talk about this. There's so many people that approved this year. And you're like, okay, well, this person, how about this person? How about that person? How about this person? How about that person? We narrowed the field down to 4 players. And
it was hard.
It was. I was tempted to put a 5th one on. It was that hard. Woo. That's not bad.
Whoa. Talk about Giants, Hearts, and Titans.
There's a Chubb there, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, he's in Cleveland.
So, the nominees are Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, and Julian Love. And I'll tell you, I think most people will think a different player than where we're going to go with this one. I do think that. So you got Daniel Jones, who went from basically being a low-end starter to
from zero to hero.
Average to above average, I think is fair to say based on this year. Would you not say average to above average starting level quarterback in this league? You got Dexter Lawrence. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, he literally went from zero to hero. He went from you play so bad the past 2 years that we're going to, decline your 5th-year contract to, hey, now we got to pay you to stay.
More of a teen Titan than a hero. He's like Nightwing. He's not quite Batman.
Okay. But he was still a hero. So it still proves my point.
I need a hero.
You know what? He may have been a treadmill listening to that song the whole time.
He might have been. So we got Andrew Thomas, who went from being last year, he developed into above average left tackle in this league.
Yeah.
After having not so good a year the first year, obviously. Now in his 3rd year, beast. beast mode. Like talking like top
Beast
5
mode.
left tackle in this league, and a guy that we wish we had for years and years there. So you got Dexter Lawrence, who, remember, and I'm hearing a lot of people say, oh, I never said that. I never heard that. But when we talked about them not picking up the 5th-year option for Daniel Jones, they did pick up the 5th-year option on Dexter Lawrence. And I heard a lot of people talking smack about that. Oh, we're going to pay him all this money. Oh, he's not that good. And I said point blank it was a good move. I said it was a good move because even based on how he was playing, look at like a contract like Dalvin Tomlinson, we lost him. We paid him like $10.5 million a year at the Vikings. So paying $11-12 million for a guy like him is not bad. Then you got Julian Love, the Swiss Army knife that basically was riding the pine for a lot of his career. Went to like, oh, he's a spot starter. Oh, he's a dime package. He's a nickel package guy. He's one of those kind of guys. To being the leading tackler on our team this year, and a solid member of the defense.
Who also stepped up and helped play, call the plays for us when McKinney went out.
Yep, and another guy that's a free agent this year, and again, I hope to see him back. We'll get into the free agency later on in a couple episodes.
Yeah, another episode.
Another guy I want back. And the winner is Julian Love.
Oh, yay.
Congrats, Julian Love. And I think a lot of people probably thought we'd go with Daniel Jones with this one, but Daniel Jones was a starting quarterback at least.
Yeah,
and now
not in the hot. Well, he was in the hot seat, but he was always a starter.
He was a starter. Julian Love wasn't a starter really. He was a spot starter. He was okay. I guess we got this guy, and now he went to being a stud safety for us this year. So good job for that kind of improvement. Great year, Julian. Thank you for everything you do for us Giant fans.
Yeah,
so
we appreciate it.
We're on to the next category,
which is the best free agent of the off season.
Ooh, talk about a rough one.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah. And we didn't get a lot of free agents, guys. This is a little bit of a rough list. And the nominees are Richie James, Jihad Ward, Matt Breida, Fabian Moreau. So Richie James, we talked about him being basically, a top flight receiver, starting receiver for us because of lack of options, but still he had to do a lot more production we expected out of him. He was thought to be a punt return guy and a bottom level wide receiver when we got him. And start to finish, he was probably the most consistent wide receiver for us this season. Hodgins had better times than him towards the end, as did Slayton, but consistency beginning to end of the season, Richie James is probably our most consistent receiver.
Especially for a guy that we thought was going to be like a wide 3 at best, wide 4.
Yep.
He really stepped up and played very well through the year.
Oh, yeah. And then you got Jihad Ward, who we thought him as a run specialist. Ends up with 3 sacks, does a little bit as a pass rusher when he had to because of injuries to Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeaux. And was an amazing run stopper, not just a good run stopper. He was probably the best run stopper we had at the edge position this entire season.
Yeah, and he flat out said, and Wink also mentioned, wherever he goes, he wants Jihad Ward to follow him. And Jihad Ward followed up with, wherever Wink goes, I will follow him.
And he was a good leader for the defense as well. It wasn't just him being a leader on the field, though, too. Like, even off the field, you see a lot of the younger guys going out and doing stuff, and Jihad Ward was there. Yes, including the Cabo trip. I don't want to get too much into that one. I'm not going to blame him for McKinney doing what he did. But, yeah, I mean, he was
he was a part of that.
He was I don't know. I wasn't there.
Jen, you can't say yes or no.
I wish I was there. Hey, guys, next trip doing, email us at 2giantgoofballs@mail.com. We're happy to come along and do live shows from Cabo.
We'll love it, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously, especially if you're paying.
Yeah.
You guys make more than us. You're okay. So
you guys made more last year than I will the next 10.
Exactly. So you got Matt Breida, who as a backup running back, he didn't have to do too much. I'll say that up front because we really kept going with Saquon.
Yeah,
But he still averaged over 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, there were some games. I think it was one of his last games, right? Last games with the Eagles, right? He had 6.1 on average. From Barkley had 6.4.
5.8 he had in the Eagle game, in the playoff game. He had 7 yards per carry in the last Eagle game. He had 59 yards, 6.6 average against the Colts. Again, everybody had a good game against the Colts.
Yeah,
but
Colts.
I mean, he wasn't called on often, but when he was, the most rushes he had was the Colts, 9 carries and 59 yards.
Yeah, and
I mean,
there's a few of those where like they knew it was like a run where it was in the back, and like he got a couple negative yards. So to get that kind of production with that short of runs, to still get that means he broke out for a few.
I'm telling you now, if we lose Barkley, which I still think is an option, I think we may lose him because there's only so much money, and you don't want to put so much money into a wide receiver. I'm sorry, to a running back. We talked about that before as well. I would be comfortable with bringing back Breda and drafting a running back and letting them split it until they figured out who's the better.
Yeah,
I would prefer Barkley. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I don't think Breda is the guy that'll do that. 25, 30 carries like Barkley can.
No, but he's fast, and if you can get a guy that is more of a thunder to his lightning, and get a committee going, I think it'd be interesting to see. So, and then of course the last one we had there, Fabian Moreau, who would have thought we'd pick up a cornerback that the freaking Houston Texans dropped. The Houston Texans, and he becomes our starting CB2.
Yeah. Dude, once again.
Yeah. But I did call at the beginning of the season when we signed him, he should be our second corner, but he did a good job. And even when Adoree Jackson was out, he still never, I feel like, really got embarrassed. Like there was no guy that really like absolutely embarrassed him except for A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson, who, let's be very frank, most people have been embarrassed by those two.
Yeah.
Yes. There's not many corners that would not be embarrassed by those two guys. So I'm not gonna crucify him for that. I think he's better off as a backup corner, but he did a very good job for us as a second corner, especially with the limited amount of time he had in camp because we signed him right before the season started and all. So, definitely good job there. And the winner is Richie James. Congrats, Richie. Congrats. Yeah. Don't drop the award like you did the punks.
Yeah.
I had to slip
shots fired.
I had to slip it in there.
You did. Well, speaking of the best.
You say speaking of slipping it in there.
Speaking about slipping it in there.
Ooh, whoa.
Not just about the free agent offseason. Let's talk about the best midseason pickup of the year as our next award.
And we had a lot of pickups.
Yeah, we did. So it's the best midseason pickup award.
So week 1, this guy could not be on the roster, and not because of injury, but because he was not signed by the Giants.
Correct.
That was the rules. And the nominees are Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Smith, Landon Collins, and Lawrence Cager. And I almost don't want to give a rundown with this one because I think it's going to be pretty obvious where we're going to go with this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious. Like, listen, I'll give a quick rundown of these guys, right?
Go for it.
Just because we have to do a little bit, right? So, Jalen Smith, we picked him up from Dallas. He wasn't expected to do much. He had some good pass rush on him.
We picked him up from. Well, if you want to get technical, we picked him up off the streets. Last year, he was a Cowboy.
Exactly.
Dropped by the Cowboys, went to the Packers, dropped by the Packers. Then we picked him up. Then we dropped him this offseason. Then we picked him up. He's had quite the well.
He had quite a ride this
year.
He got slipped in a little bit.
Whoa, slip it in. We talked about it again.
Yeah, I was saying, talking about it again. Landon Collins, there's really not much we have to talk about this guy as an ex-Giant who went to Washington and came back to the Giants, who's ecstatic, who wants to be Giant, pretty much for the rest of his career, but we'll talk about that later in another podcast. And we got Lawrence Cager, who stepped it up this year, mid-season. But, Drew, should we talk about the winner?
I think it's pretty obvious who the winner is going to be. But let's go through the let's go through the whole thing anyway. And the winner is the one guy we didn't just talk about. Isaiah Hodgins. Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, he was amazing for us there towards the second half of the season. Once he got like a little rhythm going with Daniel Jones at all.
Oh, he was so good.
Oh God! I mean, so you got the Vikings the first time we played them, 89 yards against the. Actually, I'm sorry. That was the second time. It was the playoff game. 105 yards against them. Yards the Vikings the first time we played them, and the rate of gains. If you look, he was like consistent like 40 yards at that point. So he ended up with 33 catches, 351 yards, and this is a guy who basically didn't play for us until, around like Thanksgiving time, basically, I think. And
just about, I was about to say.
Was a proven commodity for us there. Proven commodity. And I love doing this, Rob, so I'm going to do it, even though I know you hate doing this. If you do 40 yards a game, 17 games in the season, that's 680 yards. If you pick up a guy off the streets that late in the season, well, off the streets, technically got him off the practice squad from Buffalo, but that late in the season that can produce that much for you, that's an awesome job. That's a great pickup. Good job, Joe Shane.
Especially with the lack of talent we had in that receiving core.
Oh, yes. That was very much an influx of talent needed by getting him.
Yeah.
So,
and
I think it's
I don't know if you saw, but he was at a basketball game. And he was Isaiah Hodgins. He went to a basketball game with his girlfriend. They took a really cute picture for the story on Instagram.
Yes, I saw that.
And who accidentally photobombed that picture? Aaron Judge. He was 2 rows behind them.
Oh, Aaron Judge
stern
in the
face,
house. Behind them.
Judge,
that's the kind of pull that the New York Giants have, okay? He was behind him. The guy making freaking $400 million a year is behind him.
Yeah. So Isaiah Hodgins, like first row, cute Instagram picture. And there's Aaron Judge, like row 4. It was fantastic.
Now, we do have 2 unofficial awards to give out as well. Head Coach of the Year awards, of course, go to Brian Dable. No other nominees. Congrats, Dabes.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Tough competition you had there. Executive of the Year award also, of course, goes to Joe Shane. Joe Shane.
Oh, I never saw that
Executive of the Year award. And I'll tell you this, people are probably like, oh, well, of course, who else will win? Listen, if we don't like the GM or coach that year, we're going to skip the award. We're just not going to have it. We're going to say, nope, no one deserves this. Not going to do it. And we're also stalling. We're also stalling because this is the moment that you've all been waiting for. This is the moment. So before we get into this, we do have to real quick play the Goof Award promo again before we get to the MVP.
This last one. Here we go.
Oh, yes. It is that time. The most... Oh, wait, hold on. You go that part.
Oh, yeah.
I've got ahead of myself. I'm so excited.
It was so excited you started lagging it. I was like, what's going on? Oh, you know what time it is? It's only a
Damn the interwebs.
We're about to talk about the most valuable player of this year. The most valuable player. Drew.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, when we say
nominees?
MVP, when we say MVP, when we talk about MVP, we're not talking the best player on the team. We're using the true term, the guy that if we lost him, we'd be most screwed.
Yes, that is the actual
nice, delicate
definition
way
of the most valuable player. If you do not have this player, how does this team work without them?
And the nominees are Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Dexter Lawrence, Adoree Jackson. And I think all these guys, we can all say, are very important to the team. We saw what happened when Adoree Jackson was out, so we don't have to guess at how important he is. We saw what happened there. Dexter Lawrence, obviously, pass rush like crazy up the middle. Great run stopper, considering how bad our rush defense was with him. Imagine how bad it'd be without. Oof. Oof.
Yeah, oof.
Make holes like Swiss cheese. And then, obviously, Saquon Barkley, we all know, Pro Bowl caliber running back, really held the team on his back for a couple of the wins we had there. And then Daniel Jones, who progressed so much through the season and really made his value felt. Especially, look at that playoff game with the Vikings. We don't win that without him. We don't win that.
No.
We don't come anywhere near winning that.
And it's not just his ability to play the ball that's improved, because if you look at his stats, his rookie year is probably the best on paper.
Yep.
What he's done. But his quarterback IQ, his football IQ, and his leadership qualities developed phenomenally through the year, and that's what was the difference.
Yep, and on top of that, keep in mind, he also was his usual self of taking the hits that most quarterbacks won't take, as much as I cringe when he takes them sometimes.
Not only did he take those hits while he was running the ball, he sat in the pocket and got beat up like a person getting beat up. I don't want to fit anyone there.
And the winner is Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes for MVP.
Danny Dimes about to be paid Danny dollars.
Oh yes, he is going to get paid. That's part of his award.
Yeah, he'll be Danny dollars soon enough.
Yes. So this concludes the first annual Goof Awards, and we want to thank everybody. Oh yes, and thank everybody for listening in. We hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did. If you're listening on podcast land, keep in mind again we are now streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So you don't gotta wait for the episode to come out. You still should hit that subscribe button anyway, because we love it when you hit that. But like I said, we're gonna keep on pumping out there. And if you're listening live on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and you go, "Oh, this is good. I haven't seen this before." Well, first off, thank you for the kind words. Second off, make sure to hit subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're using as well, because we're on those as well. And sometimes you're going to miss things that are live. Sometimes you want to listen to things while you're in the car. We want both platforms available to you guys. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons, okay? Want more buttons than a feather down coat, okay? Button. Who got the button? We got the button. Hit the button. And again, guys, we're going to have more content coming to you guys soon. We're going to have coming up soon our cap casualty show, talking about what Giants we think we might be cutting here to make some more cap space. Our re-sign or don't re-sign show, talking about our impending free agents. And we're also going to have, of course, talking about the the upcoming free agency, talking about different guys we might want to target to be New York Giants coming up in the near future here. Because obviously we all know the holes we have. They're pretty obvious, linebacker, receiver, those kind of spots there. So we're going to talk about all that as well. So hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that share. Let your friends and family know, because sharing is caring, guys. Sharing is caring. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?